Hello, now today I wanted to talk about external drives and storage. So the ones I've got here is so these are both 4 TB. I've got the Crucial X9 Pro, the Samsung T7, I think it's just called the T7. Now I've got these two because they're both 4 TB and they're both about 100 megabytes per second up and down, so they are comparable. What I've also done is I've got a legacy, an old hard drive by LaCie here. So this is 5 TB and we've got two 4 TB. Remember that this is the old spinny drive. It's a hard disk drive. And so I've got this for comparison really. Because as like with everything loses its, it becomes a bit smaller, it loses its mass, its weight. And so today you can visually see that as storage has moved, not all of it, from hard drive to solid state drive, the spinny drive here, not only is it reduced in size and weight, actually there is one thing that it has done. Things have gone up in price because these solid state drives are approximately 3 times more expensive than the hard drive over here. But we'll come back to this hard drive in a moment, because let's just stay focused on these two for a moment. Now SSD storage, having external drives these days is very important, especially if you are a content creator or you are a business that uses audio-visual applications, in particular visuals, so photographs or videos, because they use a lot of data, especially if you are a film company or a media company, especially if you are using formats larger than HD, which is 1080. So if you're shooting cameras that are 4K and onwards, storage is going to become an issue for you, because also the devices that hold storage, like cameras and computers, that gets very expensive. And cameras these days, they don't really have onboard storage of 8 TB and 4 TB. It's normally smaller than that, so often you are adding additional drives to pick up that heavy lifting. Computers also, these days, yes, you will find 1 TB, but the minute you go over that size to 2 TB, 4 TB, the cost starts to really shoot up. So storage devices like these are a big deal really. Not for everyone. If you are a person that's shooting normal photos on your smartphone, and perhaps you have a small cloud account, or you are just not a heavy user, perhaps hard drives like this is something that you have never really come across. But if you need them, these things are very important and they are very expensive. Now, the one other real big advantage over solid state drives over, for example, an older hard drive like this, is that these things are silent. Everything's driven via USB. These are all USB-C items, because today you really want USB-C. But even though this is still very quiet, there is a slight noise. And if it is resting on a hard surface, you are going to be, if it's very quiet, you're going to hear this very faint hum, which is the actual mechanical hard drive inside here. And that can be a real pain for some people, especially if you're editing or you're in an environment that requires you to have complete silence. It's just one physical thing that's a bit of a nuisance. Solid state drives are silent. The only other noticeable thing is all of these give away heat when they're in operation. All electrical devices will dissipate some heat, and they get warm to the touch. This large hard drive is probably the coolest out of the three, but these two, but none of them get that hot. These are definitely warm to touch. Now, what I want to do is I want to compare these two. Now, I suppose there's a bit of a disclaimer here. Even though I'm doing this review, what I can tell you is that this Crucial X9 drive actually stopped working. So that's a bit of a nuisance, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And but we'll come back to warranties and what that has meant for me here. But anyway, let's open these two. So first of all, look at this packaging. So the Samsung is definitely, the packaging is much bigger. Saying that, it's not really that much heavier. So I'm expecting the devices to be a similar weight in the hand. And I'm not going to show other sides of the boxes because they'll have the serial numbers on, that sort of thing. So hopefully I can do it like this. I might have to go off camera. In fact, let me go off camera just for a moment so I can open the boxes. Actually, I can come back with the let me open the Crucial box here. Okay, so that's what's inside the Crucial, and just whilst I'm off camera, I'm very quickly opening the Samsung here. Let's there we go, because I know that the serial numbers are sometimes on the boxes, so it's better not to show those. So there we go. Look at the so this is the first impressions of the two drives. Now the Crucial is a bit more simple. The box is a little more, there's less to it, and as you can see, you're greeted straight away with this tray. Now this cable's quite nice, but it is very short. You can see that it's short, and this is the drive, and it's sort of, it's okay. It has this rubber bottom to it. It's very nice. There's the USB-C connector part. There is an LED illuminator just there, so that is quite nice. So it is quite a nice thing. It's nice and light. You will probably know their weight yourself. Now, if we come over to the, I'll just leave that in shot here, to the Samsung, we have this tray that allows me to take out the drive. Now, straight away, this drive does feel a little more premium. It's a metal, it must be aluminium, the casing. I'm assuming the ends here are plastic, but there's your USB slot and a light indicator. So this does feel a little better because it's a little more premium. But one of the standout features is with the Samsung, you do get, I can see here there are two cables inside here. Yeah, and I think one will be USB-C to USB-C. Yeah, it does look that. And one is USB-A to USB-C. So that really is a big deal. When you're buying these drives, the USB-A to USB-C for legacy devices is going to be really useful. The Crucial only has USB-C to USB-C. So for more people, this is going to be fine because you only need USB-C. And even though the cable is short, it's not a showstopper, but it can be a nuisance. You can see here straight away that the Samsung cable is a little bit longer. And I'm just wondering about the quality feel. The Samsung cable feels better quality. Yeah, it does. The quality of the Crucial is okay, but it is short and doesn't feel as quality as the Samsung. The Samsung is definitely better quality, and having this second cable here for legacy USB-A drives, that's quite a bonus. So that's, yeah, I would say that the packaging experience with the Samsung is definitely better there. Yeah, okay, so let me take out the drives. And so here's the Crucial. I'll pull it that way, and I'll move the cables for a moment, and let me take out, there we go. So on the face of it, I would say that the packaging experience and the build quality, this feels plasticky, even though I think this might be metal. I've got a feeling that it might still be plastic. It might be plastic with, infused metal or something. It doesn't feel as good quality as the Samsung. The Samsung definitely feels better quality. This is a nicer drive to hold in the hand. The Crucial feels like plastic, although this might be metal, I suppose. It sounds like plastic, doesn't it? To the nail touch, it sounds like, it feels like it's plastic, but there is a metal sort of a thing to it. I wonder if it's plastic that they've got a metal coating over the plastic. If I was told that was plastic, I would believe it. This might be plastic. Anyway, the Samsung definitely wins with its build quality. That does feel nicer in the hand. But if we go to side profile, you can see that you maybe can't see, but the Samsung is definitely a little bit thinner, but I think that's really negligible. I don't think that is a problem at all. Yeah, but you can probably see there on camera, it's definitely thinner. But the form factor, the size of the Crucial is quite nice. If you are really being a stickler with their sizes, the Crucial definitely has to be a consideration. And I sort of like this cutout bit here. I suppose you could put this on a keyring sort of thing, and that light there does illuminate. There isn't that option on the Samsung, but I've never thought to myself, oh, I wish I could have this on a carabiner or anything. I've never thought that. But I suppose it is really then down to what the thing looks like and price, because there is a price difference. Now, this is where you have to shop around, because these are basically a very similar cost. There only might be $10 or $20 difference between the two, and depending on what site where you're buying it from, you might find the Crucial cheaper, or you might find the Samsung cheaper. I think in my own experience was that I found the Samsung cheaper than the Crucial, so that is sort of interesting. And at that point, let's get on to support. Now, the Samsung works fine today for me, and I've had no problems with it. But after 2 weeks, the Crucial did stop working. And there was something to do with the exFAT operating system of the Crucial. Forgive me if I'm explaining this incorrectly. I couldn't get it to format in AFPS, even though this is literally marketed for Mac. It did originally work on my Mac, but after about a couple of weeks, it just stopped working. I tried to fix it myself, and then I wasn't able to format it in AFPS. Since then, I think I have been able to format it, but it just won't move large files, and so it has stopped working. At that point, I did go to Crucial's website. I did try to seek advice. The advice I got, I did follow that advice to see if I could get it working again, and it didn't. And since then, Crucial have said that they can't help me because I didn't buy it from one of their authorized dealers. I actually got this from eBay, and because the vendor on eBay wasn't an authorized dealer, they were unable to perform any warranty on it, even though the website itself, when I enter the details, does tell me it's eligible for warranty repair, but Crucial themselves that they wouldn't repair it. So I do find that interesting. I haven't had any experience with Samsung warranty because this hasn't broken, and I do I've done the exact same thing with both these drives, and then the Crucial just failed. And it's working today, but it just won't move large files. And if you were to use it for anything like a time machine or anything like that, it definitely won't work. And today, Crucial will just not repair it because they claim, even though it was brand new, it wasn't sold to me from one of their authorized resellers. And so I do find that very interesting, because obviously this was made by Crucial. Obviously it's brand new. Obviously you know, I'm doing my best. You know, I simply wanted them to plug it into their machine and probably flash the hardware that would make it work. But I mean, I really don't know how these things break or how they're really working. But anyway, the Crucial hasn't worked. And the support hasn't been very good either. But I sort of understand from a business reason what's going on, but I am a little bit disappointed here because it wouldn't have taken Crucial much to receipt this and work out what the problem is. Anyway, so I suppose that is, you know, a very realistic review, really, because I'm offering you my real life experience. These two purchases is telling me that I would want another Samsung because I've had no problems with this, and it was actually a little bit cheaper when I purchased it, so that's just my own circumstance. And to date it's been absolutely fine, and I sort of think it feels better in the hand. But I'm a little bit disappointed because I would have liked the Crucial to have worked as well, because I need to have two different looking devices because it's easier to know which one is which if they're both different. So that's a little bit disappointing. But apart from that, you know, it looks very nice, and I'm sure that, you know, some do work, and I'm sure that it works very well. And, you know, it's a nice thing. So, but then we get on to storage and the need for these things. And what I will do is, just whilst we're on camera, let me pull this out, because I thought the device was, I thought it was very interesting to see the unpackaging of all three, because, you know, they are, what you're seeing here is size and weight differences. And also packaging differences. And I seem to remember that this came with at least two cables. One was C to C, one was C to A. So the cables that were in this were very good, but they were very stiff. The LaCie cables are way too stiff. And I think they're stiff because they are, the cables are good for what they do. They're very thick and stiff. Because they need to be a certain size to perform the data transfer speeds that they claim. Anyway, but just to show you how these things look in the hand. So the old hard disk drive is, you know, it's much heavier, it's much bigger. The thing makes a little noise, you know, only audible in a very quiet situation, but it is there. And the other thing, the other performance thing, is that it's much slower. I forget what the transfer speeds of a LaCie, of what a hard disk drive is, but I think it's possibly only 1/10 of the speed of what these SSDs can do. And these aren't the latest ones. So the X9 Pro and the T7, the speeds obtained by these SSDs is going to be perfect for many computer systems today, because they are Gen 2, 3.2 Gen 2, and the very latest speeds are obtained with something called Gen 3.2 Gen 2 times 2, and there's a fancy name for that. But they are achieving double the speed of these, around about 2,000 megabytes per second. And then you can get some very fancy stuff, but the cost goes straight up then. But for normal consumer use, I think these are excellent today, because 1,000 megabytes per second for normal use for a normal person, that is very quick. I mean, you will notice the difference when you are transferring files from an old traditional hard disk drive like this, and when you jump to SSD. The file transfer speed is amazingly different. These SSDs are so much faster. You know, it's a real time saving. Also, it's much smaller, much lighter. So putting these things in your bag and traveling around is so much better. When you've got a couple of these in your bag, you start to think, hey, you know, I'm also obtaining weightlifting exercise during the day. Having a few of these about your person is heavy, and it's going to be too much. Having a few of these, you're probably not really going to notice it. So there you go, really. I've been chatting a lot, I do apologise. But to bring this video to a conclusion, I imagine that people watching this, really understand, that storage is a big thing, and the reason that you're watching this is because it's something that you need yourself anyway, and you're familiar with it. And depending on price and ability and what you want it for, is really going to point you to the direction that you're going in here. Also, I have to say, I think that these three devices here are probably the best looking devices on the market, from simply aesthetic. And also these two in particular are the best quality names in the market: Samsung and LaCie and SanDisk. They do seem to be the better brand names in my experience. Crucial might be very good, but that's just not the experience I've had. Samsung, very good. LaCie is very good. I've had a couple of LaCie drives as well, and they're brilliant. None have ever failed on me. I've also used some Samsung hard drives before, and none of them have ever failed. Now, I've watched other YouTube channels that tell me that their branded devices have failed. Well, the SSDs have failed. So it does sound like that data loss and data problems with SSDs is a real thing. It is something that you need to think about, and it's why these days many professionals duplicate all their data. So one of the things I do is the data that's on here is normally backed up to a hard drive like this. So if something does go wrong here, the data should be on here. And because when I transfer the data from the SSD to a hard drive, because the speed isn't really an issue, having this isn't an issue, because my experience is that they've never failed on me, and I've had them for years. So these old hard disk drives, for me, they are working out very well. Today I have the SSDs for mainly two reasons, and these are functional reasons: the size of them, the weight of them, and speed. That is the reason that you go to SSDs here. If you're in an environment where size and speed are not priority, you definitely want to be heading over to these older hard disk drives, because they're a lot cheaper. They do seem very reliable, and of course you're not so worried about transporting them around. They can plug into the back of a machine or on the floor. You can have a nice long cable up to your machine, and so there is still a very valid use for these older hard drive types. The SSDs are really for on the move, and you need weight, and the data transfer speed is an issue for you. That's when you go in this direction. But I wanted to show you these because they look so cool. Data and data storage is a really big deal, and I know that it's a little bit boring, but today your data is the thing that has the value. Your computer, your camera, if that gets lost, it's a pain in the bum, or if it's stolen, that's a real nuisance. But if all your data is lost as well, that's the bit that really hurts. Losing something like this that's full of your data is much more valuable than a smartphone or a computer. That has a lot of value attached to it, because of the data that it contains. So purchasing and wanting to get an SSD really is a something that is a big deal for people, because they're expensive. You've got to think about it. You need a data management policy. These things, even though they're expensive, they are doing a very big job, and that big job is looking after your data, but also is the means to hold that data, to use that data, and to store that data. So I wanted to show you something that, in my opinion, is very important. These drives are it's where your life, what you do in life and all your work can end up on one of these little things. So having this in your pocket about your person, that's a big thing. Anyway, I will say ciao for now. Hope everyone is well, and speak again soon.